You've heard it a million times. Just be kind. Be a good person. But what if I told you that kindness, if you're not careful, can actually destroy your life? Sounds harsh, right? But stick with me. We're all taught that kindness is one of the highest virtues. And don't get me wrong, it's powerful. It can build bridges, open doors, and change lives. But here's the truth. When you give your kindness away without boundaries, without wisdom, it can become a weapon that's used against you. People will take advantage of you. They'll drain you. And in the end, you'll be left with nothing but emptiness. Just imagine that. You think you're doing the right thing. You think you're helping, but you're losing yourself in the process. You're running on fumes while the world around you keeps taking. The real danger isn't in being kind. It's in overextending that kindness without understanding the cost. So how can something so pure, so good, turn against you? What happens when kindness starts to chip away at your peace, your success, and your happiness? Stick around, because I'm about to give you 8 reasons why kindness, when taken too far, can destroy everything you've worked for. Let's break it down. Reason 1, you allow people to take advantage of you. Now, I want you to listen closely because this is important. Kindness is a powerful thing. It's a strength, not a weakness. But here's the harsh truth. Sometimes your kindness can turn into a weapon that others use against you. You see, when you're constantly putting others first, always saying yes, always helping, always giving, you might find yourself in a place where people start taking advantage of that. And that's not what kindness was meant to do. It's easy to feel like you're doing the right thing, that you're being a good person, a good friend, or a good family member. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are they appreciating your kindness, or are they exploiting it? Are they lifting you up, or are they draining you? When you allow people to take advantage of you, you're not helping them, you're hurting yourself. And you're robbing yourself of the ability to stand firm, to set boundaries, and to prioritize your own well-being. Kindness, when misused, can leave you feeling empty, exhausted, and unappreciated. It's like giving all of your energy to others but not receiving anything in return. That's when the balance gets thrown off. You're left feeling resentful and wondering why you're always the one making sacrifices, but never getting the same level of care or respect. You give and give, but you end up drained, emotionally, mentally, and even physically. And guess what? That leads to burnout. Now, I'm not saying stop being kind. What I'm saying is this: you need to get smart about how and when to give. You need to protect your energy. Kindness without boundaries is self-sabotage. You have to understand that not everyone deserves the best of you. Some people will take advantage of your good nature because they know you'll say yes. They'll take and take and take with no intention of giving anything back. That's a dangerous place to be, my friend. You can be kind without being a doormat. You can be generous without neglecting your own needs. You can show love and care without letting people walk all over you. But you have to get clear on your boundaries. You have to know when to say no and when to step back. Your kindness should empower both you and others, not leave you feeling like you've been used. Here's the truth. Your time, your energy, your resources, they are valuable. You have dreams, goals, and a life to live. When you allow people to take advantage of you, you're giving them permission to steal your time and energy. You're allowing them to drain your resources without any intention of offering anything meaningful in return. And if you keep letting that happen, you'll wake up one day realizing you've spent years giving to others only to be left with nothing for yourself. So what do? You learn how to say no without guilt. You start setting boundaries and you stick to them. You become more selective about where you put your time and energy. It's not about being selfish, it's about being self-aware. When you take care of yourself first, you're in a better position to help others in a healthy way, without it costing you everything. You deserve respect. Your time matters. If someone isn't respecting that, you have every right to walk away. Remember this: kindness is a gift. Don't let anyone steal it from you or use it against you. Give your kindness to those who appreciate it, who value you, and who give just as much back in return. Protect your peace, your time, and your energy, because at the end of the day, you've got to take care of yourself first. When you do that, you'll see how much more powerful your kindness becomes. You'll see how much more of an impact you can make, because you're not giving from an empty cup, you're giving from a full one. And that's when the real change starts to happen. Reason 2, you compromise your values to please others. When you're too focused on pleasing others, you start to lose sight of who you truly are. You start to bend, twist, and compromise your own values just to fit in, just to make someone happy, or just to avoid conflict. And here's the thing: you can't grow that way. You can't be your best self by constantly trying to be what everyone else wants you to be. Your values are the foundation of who you are. They define your character, your decisions, and your path in life. When you compromise those values, even a little bit, you chip away at the very core of your integrity. It's like building a house on sand. It may look good for a while, but it will collapse. You don't have to compromise who you are to make someone else comfortable. True strength comes from standing firm in your values, even when it's hard. When you respect yourself and honor your beliefs, others will respect you for it. Never lose sight of what matters most to you. You were not put on this earth to live someone else's life. You were put here to live yours. You've been taught to put others before yourself. But what happens when that starts to compromise who you are? Kindness can sometimes make you bend your principles to avoid conflict or hurt feelings. But listen, if you're sacrificing your truth for the comfort of others, you'll lose sight of your own identity. True strength comes when you stand firm in your own beliefs, even when it's hard. Kindness is a gift, but when it leads you to compromise your values just to keep the peace or gain approval, it stops being a strength and starts being a weakness. Living in alignment with your principles is what gives your life meaning and direction. When you start bending those principles to fit someone else's expectations, you lose a part of who you are. Picture this: every time you go against your values to please others, you chip away at your confidence and self-respect. You begin to feel unsteady, like a house built on a shaky foundation. But life isn't about trying to fit into someone else's mold. It's about standing firm in who you are, even if that means disappointing a few people along the way. It's okay to be kind, but kindness doesn't mean saying yes to everything or agreeing with everyone. Real kindness respects both others and yourself. Stay true to what you believe, even when it's hard. The right people will value you for who you are, not for how much you're willing to compromise. Choose integrity over approval, because when you live authentically, you create a life you're proud of. A life where kindness is rooted in strength, not sacrifice. Reason 3, people start expecting more from you. Now listen up, because I need you to understand something deep. Kindness is a beautiful thing. It's a trait that builds bridges, nurtures relationships, and shows the world who you are at your core. But here's where it can get tricky. When you're always kind, when you're always giving, people start to expect more from you. And I'm talking about more than you have to give. At first it feels good, you're helping, you're showing up, and you're making a difference. But over time, when you make kindness your default, people begin to take it for granted. They start to expect your help, your time, your energy. And they don't always recognize the cost to you. It's like you've set a standard, and now they believe you're always going to be there, always going to give. It can turn into a burden if you're not careful. Here's the deal. When people start expecting more from you, they stop appreciating the effort you put in. They start to see it as your responsibility. They start to see your kindness as something that's just supposed to happen. And before you know it, you're stuck in a cycle of giving and giving, but you're not getting back what you deserve. It feels like your kindness has become an obligation, not a gift. This is where the danger lies. When people start expecting more, they no longer see your time, your energy, and your love as something special. They take it for granted. And that's where you can get lost in the shuffle. You forget to take care of yourself because you're too busy meeting everyone else's needs. You start saying yes when you should say no because you don't want to disappoint. You start to lose yourself in the constant demands of others. And that's a road to burnout, my friend. You have to set boundaries. You have to let people know that while you are generous, while you are kind, your time and energy are finite. You cannot be everything to everyone. It's not selfish to say no when you need to. It's not wrong to take a step back and say, I've given all I can, and now it's time for me to take care of myself. If you don't do this, if you don't protect your peace and your energy, you're going to find yourself overwhelmed. You'll feel drained, used, and empty. When people start expecting more from you, they can unintentionally drain the very essence of who you are. And the sad truth is, when you don't set those boundaries, you'll start to resent the very people you've been trying to help. Resentment isn't the result of kindness. It's the result of overgiving without self-respect. When you say yes too often, when you do too much, without considering your own needs, you lose yourself in the process. Now let me be clear. You are not a robot. You don't have endless energy. You don't have unlimited time. You are human, and there's nothing wrong with needing a break. You can say no. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with protecting your space so that you can show up as the best version of yourself. When you set clear boundaries, when you stop letting people expect more from you than what you can give, you put yourself in a position of strength. You can be kind without burning out. You can help others without sacrificing your well-being. So remember, kindness is a blessing, but your well-being is a priority. You don't have to meet everyone's expectations. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. When you learn to say no when it counts, you free yourself to show up even bigger for the people who truly matter without losing yourself in the process. So protect your peace, respect your boundaries, and keep giving, but always remember to give to yourself first. Because if you're empty, you can't pour into anyone else. Reason 4, people start expecting more from you. Listen, I want you to understand this. Kindness is one of the greatest qualities you can possess. It's the thing that makes you human, it opens doors, and it makes the world a better place. But here's the reality that most people don't want to face. When you're constantly giving, when you're always kind, people will start to expect more from you. And that expectation can take a toll if you're not careful. At first, you're just being you, helping out, showing up, lending a hand. It feels good, doesn't it? You feel like you're doing right by others. like you're being a blessing. But the more you do it, the more others start to take it for granted. They start to assume that you'll always be there, always ready to give. They don't see the effort you put in. They just see the result and want more of it. And you know what? Over time, you can find yourself drowning in demands. Here's the thing. When people start expecting more from you, it's easy to lose yourself. They start seeing your kindness as something they're entitled to, not something you're choosing to offer. That's when you're at risk. People will take as much as you'll give, and if you let them, they'll take more than you have to offer. Before long, you'll find yourself empty, feeling unappreciated, and struggling to keep up with everyone's needs. Now, let me tell you something real. You can't be everything to everyone. You can't pour from an empty cup. And if you're not careful, people will begin to demand more than you can give, and you'll end up feeling overwhelmed, used, and resentful. Here's what happens when you let people's expectations rule you. You start saying yes when you should be saying no. You start putting other people's needs ahead of your own, and in doing so, you lose yourself. You lose your energy, your time, and your peace of mind. You might even start resenting the very people you're helping, because deep down, you know you've been giving too much and not getting enough back. This is where boundaries come in. You've got to set boundaries. You've got to make sure that while you're giving, you're also taking care of yourself. It's okay to say no when you need to. It's okay to step back when you feel overwhelmed. In fact, it's necessary, because if you don't set those boundaries, you're going to burn out. And when you burn out, you're not going to be good for anyone, not for yourself and not for the people that you're trying to help. Here's the bottom line. Your kindness is a gift, not an obligation. You don't owe anyone your time, your energy, or your help if it's costing you your well-being. People are going to test those boundaries. They're going to push and see how far they can get. But you've got to stand firm. You've got to say, I'm here for you, but I'm not here to be taken advantage of. When you learn to say no, you create space for more meaningful yeses. You create space for the people who truly appreciate your kindness and respect your time. Most importantly, you create space for yourself to recharge, refocus, and keep giving, but in a way that doesn't leave you drained. So be kind, but don't let people expect more from you than you can give. Take care of yourself, set your boundaries, and always remember that your kindness should be a blessing, not a burden. You've got to protect your peace, protect your energy, and protect the value of what you bring to the table. When you do that, you'll continue to bless others without losing yourself in the process. Reason 5, you lose sight of your own needs. Let me be clear, kindness is a gift. It's one of the best things you can offer in this world. When you extend kindness, you're lifting others up. You're showing empathy, love, and support. But here's the harsh truth most people don't talk about. Sometimes, when you're constantly putting others first, you lose sight of your own needs. And when you lose sight of your own needs, you start to crumble on the inside. You see, it starts innocently enough. You help someone out, you lend a listening ear, or you go the extra mile for a friend or family member. And you feel good, right? You feel like you're making a difference. But over time, if you're not careful, you start doing it more and more. You become the person everyone turns to, the person everyone counts on. And somewhere along the way, your own needs, the things that keep you grounded, the things that nurture you, start to slip away. When you're constantly focused on helping others, you forget about your own well-being. You forget about your goals, your dreams, and your self-care. Your energy gets drained, your time is consumed, and your mind gets cluttered with other people's problems. It's easy to let it happen because you want to help. You want to be there for the people you love. But if you don't take care of yourself first, how are you going to be there for someone else? The real danger is that over time, you start to feel like you don't matter as much as the people around you. You start believing that your needs are secondary. But that's not true. You and your goals matter. Your dreams matter. If you don't prioritize your own needs, you're going to be running on empty. And that's a dangerous place to be. You can't be the best version of yourself for others if you're not taking care of your own body, your mind, and your spirit. When you're constantly giving to everyone else, you're not leaving room for your own growth. You're not making time to reflect on your own journey, to focus on what you need to improve and to put in the work necessary to reach your own goals. Without that focus, you'll lose direction, and you'll begin to feel like you're stuck in a cycle of giving without receiving anything back. Here's the deal. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not fulfilling your own needs, both physical and emotional, you're going to find yourself drained. You'll lose your spark, your passion, and your purpose. Eventually, you won't have the energy to help anyone, not even the people you care about. That's why you have to create balance. You have to recognize that self-care is not selfish, it's necessary. You have to carve out time to meet your own needs. You have to make your own dreams and goals a priority just as much as you're prioritizing the needs of others. This is not about turning your back on people or becoming selfish. It's about being smart. It's about knowing that in order to continue helping and being there for others, you first have to be there for yourself. You have to refuel. You have to recharge. You have to know that your happiness, your health, and your peace of mind matter just as much as anyone else's. So make a commitment to yourself. Don't lose sight of your own needs. Take the time to nourish your body, to strengthen your mind, and to pursue your own dreams. You can still be there for others, but you can't do that if you're neglecting your own well-being. Remember, when you're at your best, you can give your best. Keep that balance, and you'll find that both you and the people around you will thrive. Reason 6. Kindness can be mistaken for weakness. Most people don't like to admit this. Kindness can be misunderstood. You've probably been in a situation where you went out of your way to help someone, to offer them compassion, and instead of appreciation, you get taken advantage of. You give, you sacrifice, and instead of respect, you get dismissed. In the eyes of some people, your kindness can be mistaken for weakness. I want you to hear me clearly on this. Kindness is not weakness. It's strength. True kindness comes from a place of inner confidence. It comes from knowing who you are and having enough respect for yourself to offer that respect to others. But here's the thing. Some people will see you being kind, and instead of recognizing it for what it is, they'll try to exploit it. They'll take advantage. They'll test your boundaries, and they'll push until they see how much they can get from you. When you're kind, people will mistake your good nature for vulnerability, and that's when the manipulation starts. They'll see your willingness to help as a door that's always open, one they can knock on whenever they need something. They'll think that because you're kind, you'll always be there to pick them up, no matter how many times they let you down. But that's not the case. True strength lies in knowing when to say enough. You see, kindness isn't about being a doormat. It's about showing compassion while still holding your ground. It's about being generous with your time, but also knowing that your time is valuable. It's about offering help, but not at the cost of your own well-being. People will try to take advantage of your kindness if you don't set clear boundaries and communicate them firmly. But don't let that discourage you from being kind. I encourage you to continue showing kindness because it's a rare and valuable trait in today's world. But don't confuse kindness with submission. Don't let people manipulate your generosity. The power of kindness lies in having the courage to say no when it's necessary, and the wisdom to understand that helping someone doesn't mean sacrificing your own peace and happiness. What you need to remember is this: kindness is not a weakness, it's a choice. And it's a choice that requires strength, because it takes strength to love others without expecting anything in return. It takes strength to show compassion even when you've been hurt before. And it takes strength to continue giving even when you've been taken advantage of. But here's the key: don't let that kindness become a trap. The next time someone mistakes your kindness for weakness, stand tall. Stand firm in your boundaries. Show them that your kindness comes from a place of strength, not desperation. When you understand your value and your worth, you don't need to prove it to anyone. Actions speak louder than words, and the right people will see your kindness for what it is: strength in action. In the end, kindness is a powerful thing. But it's also important to remember that you don't have to tolerate disrespect or exploitation just because you're a kind person. Protect your energy, protect your peace, and never let anyone mistake your kindness for weakness. Your true strength comes from knowing when to give, when to hold back, and when to stand up for yourself. Keep your heart open, but never forget your worth. That's the real power of kindness. Reason 7. It's easy to lose respect for yourself. Let me be real with you for a second. We all know kindness is a beautiful thing, but here's the truth. Sometimes kindness can lead to something dangerous. It can cause you to lose sight of who you are and forget to take care of your own needs. When you start giving so much of yourself, your time, your energy, your resources, you might just wake up one day and realize you've lost respect for yourself. You see, it's easy to fall into the trap of always putting others before you. You want to help, you want to support, you want to be there for people. And you should. But there comes a point when the kindness you show to others becomes a reflection of how little you're showing to yourself. And when that happens, you start to lose respect for the person who's always giving, always sacrificing, the person who's you. When you're constantly giving without setting boundaries, constantly saying yes to others when you know you need to say no to yourself, it becomes a slippery slope. Slowly, you begin to forget your own worth. You forget that you matter. And when you lose that sense of self-respect, it doesn't just affect your relationships with others, it destroys your relationship with yourself. Here's the kicker: people can feel it when you lose respect for yourself. They'll start treating you differently. You can't demand respect from others if you're not respecting yourself first. When you're giving away everything without taking a moment for yourself, it sends a message to the world that you don't value your own time, your own energy, your own well-being. And people will treat you accordingly. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be kind. I'm not saying you shouldn't help those in need. But you need to realize that you come first. You can't pour from an empty cup. When you lose respect for yourself by constantly putting everyone else ahead of you, you're draining your own energy and sacrificing your peace. You'll end up feeling bitter, tired, and unappreciated. Respecting yourself means knowing when to say no without guilt. It means understanding that your time is valuable. It means being honest with yourself about what you need, what you want, and what you deserve. When you learn to put yourself first, you stop losing respect for yourself. you start honoring your own needs, and you become more equipped to help others, not from a place of depletion, but from a place of strength. So if you find yourself giving so much that you've lost sight of who you are, it's time to make a change. Start by setting healthy boundaries. Protect your time, protect your energy, and protect your peace. You deserve to take care of yourself. When you respect yourself, you show the world how to treat you. When you give yourself the respect you deserve, you can give more to others without sacrificing your own sense of self. Don't wait until you're burnt out to make the shift. Start respecting yourself now and watch how your life transforms. When you're kind to yourself and you prioritize your own needs, the respect you'll gain from others will come naturally. The best part is, you'll finally start seeing the value in yourself that you've been giving away to others. That's where real strength comes from. Respect for yourself is the foundation for everything you want in life. Without it, nothing else matters. So take a moment, breathe, and start building back that respect for who you are. You deserve it. Reason 8, you set yourself up for burnout. Listen to me, kindness is a beautiful thing, and it's one of the greatest qualities you can have. But if you're not careful, if you're always the one giving and never taking, you could find yourself in a place you don't want to be, burned out. Now, I want you to hear me loud and clear. Kindness without boundaries can lead you straight to burnout. You might be thinking, I'm just being a good person. I'm helping others. I'm doing the right thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing. You can't give what you don't have. If you're always pouring into others, whether it's your time, your energy, your emotions, without taking time to fill yourself back up, eventually you're going to run dry. Burnout doesn't happen overnight. It starts with small sacrifices. You say yes to someone's request when you should have said no. You go the extra mile for others even though you know your own plate is already full. And before you know it, you're running on empty. Your energy is depleted. Your spirit is drained. And you feel like you have nothing left to give. You see, kindness is not just about being generous with others. It's about knowing when to step back, when to take a break, and when to take care of yourself. If you keep overextending yourself, keep putting everyone's needs ahead of your own, you're asking for trouble. When you set yourself up for burnout, you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting those you care about too. When you're burned out, you become less effective. You become tired, frustrated, and eventually resentful. You'll be no good to anyone, including yourself. So, what's the solution? It's simple. Set boundaries. Learn how to say no when you need to. Don't feel guilty for putting yourself first, because if you don't, you'll have nothing left to give. Prioritize your health, your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Fill your own cup before you try to fill others. Self-care is not selfish. It's essential. Let me tell you something. True strength comes from knowing your limits and respecting them. If you push yourself too hard, too long, you will break. That doesn't help anyone, least of all you. Burnout is real, and it's something that can completely derail your life if you let it. Now, I want you to think about this. If you're constantly running on empty, who's going to take care of you? The people you're helping might appreciate you in the moment, but they won't be there when you need to recharge. You have to be the one to set your own boundaries. You have to be the one to prioritize your well-being. You have to know when it's time to rest, recover, and come back stronger. So stop setting yourself up for burnout. Stop letting your kindness be an excuse for neglecting yourself. Take a step back and ask yourself, are you doing this for you? Or are you doing it for everyone else? It's time to reevaluate, set boundaries, and learn to say no. When you take care of yourself, when you don't allow yourself to burn out, you become a better person, a better friend, a better partner, and a better human being. The best thing you can do for the world is to make sure you're not running on fumes. So take a moment, take a breath, and start taking care of you. That's the key to long-term success and happiness. All right, folks, let's wrap this up. We've explored the 8 reasons why kindness can, at times, destroy your life, and how it's crucial to strike a balance. The reality is, while kindness is powerful, it's important to set boundaries, prioritize your own needs, and know when to say no in order to protect your energy and well-being. So, can kindness destroy your life? Yes, it can if you let it. But the key is in understanding the balance. Kindness should never come at the expense of your self-respect, your boundaries, or your health. You deserve to be kind to yourself too. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think kindness has ever led you down a destructive path? Drop your opinions and experiences in the comments below. I want to know what you think. Before you go, don't forget to check out the next video in our playlist on the 10 people you should stop helping. Trust me, it's a video you won't want to miss. Keep growing, keep thriving, and I'll see you in the next one.